Hello, welcome back to yet another episode of Learning with Junaid. Today we are going to be talking about an important interview question. Most of the times they ask you in Google and Amazon. I believe somebody was just telling me this. So the question goes something like this. How do you check for the balancing of the symbols? So if you see my screen, I have certain string. This is a string, and the symbols inside the string are balanced. For example, if I have one of these, I also have one of these that closes. If I have one of these, I also have one of these, this closes. So if I have one of this square bracket, I have another square bracket that closes, for example. So this could be a balance. So let's say string test, and then in my case this is a balanced string because it has an opening brace and a close brace. This is also a balanced string. This is also a balanced string, right? This is not a balanced string because it does not have a closing square bracket. Similarly, this is also not a balanced string. So how do you check if the given string has the symbols and the symbols are all balanced? So let's go ahead and see how we do it. I'm going to create a method and I'm going to return a Boolean value. Let's say in our case false. Okay, so the data structure that we will use for something like this would be a stack. Now, why do I choose a stack? Is because we are going to go ahead and check each of these characters to make sure that if I check this character, then I also have to make sure, if I'm going to check this, then I also have to make sure that I'm going to be able to check if I also have this into my string, right? So that's why I decided to use stack. Very easier to do with stack. And most of the times they will also tell you that you can use stack to make this check. So how does stack work? Stack is actually a last in and a first out data structure where the element that you insert at the last, that's the element that will be taken out first. So that's a data structure stack. Java already has a data structure called as stack. Since I'm going to be working with characters, I'm going to define a data structure called as stack. So Java already has an inbuilt data structure. Let's say we are going to use this stack, and I will just come in briefly and I will tell you why I'm using character here. So this is the test string that was passed to me. So how are we going to do it is, initially we are going to take each of these characters and push it into our stack. Okay, stack has basically it has two many important operations. One is stack.push, the other one is pop. Pop actually removes, push actually puts the element into a stack. In addition to that, there is something called as a pick that will actually check if the element is there or not without removing from the stack. The documentation is very comprehensive. You can just go and check. So we are going to be using leveraging the properties of stack. So how are we going to do it? I'm going to first, I have a string. As I said, for any interview question that you get, the first thing that you need to do is how do you simplify or how do you actually normalize your solution. For most of the string questions, the simplification is you take each of the string and divide it into a character array. So that that is one of the most simple things that you can do for string operations. As we go and discuss more string puzzles in programming, we will see that, but for now what we will do is we are going to iterate over this string array for int of an I equal to 0, I is less than s dot test string dot length and I plus plus. So I am going to be iterating over this. So, and I am going to take each of those characters of at that particular position, and I am going to push those into my stack. Test string dot character at I. So initially my stack would have something which will have all of these elements. Make sense? Right? Okay. Now at the same time that I am iterating, I am going to go ahead and start making checks. What will be my check? My check is if I have this, if my character is this, then I have to make a check. Make a check that my stack contains, when I do a pop, it should contain this. So if this is a character that I have in my string, then I have to make sure that I go and check my stack, and my stack should have this. That means I have a balanced string in this case. So the algorithm works in a way like, you create a stack. If the character that is read is not a symbol, that has to be balanced. So if it's not a symbol, then ignore it. So if the character is an opening symbol like this, then push it into a stack. You push that opening symbol into a stack. Okay. If it's a closing symbol like this, and if it's a closing symbol, any of this or this or this, and if the stack is empty, report an error, otherwise pop the stack. Okay, so let's see how we do it through a code base. So you start adding some checks, and when you start adding some checks, this is what you do. If my s dot character at I equal to, let's say I'm going to make this as my check, right? String character equal to thing. Okay, so now what I will do is I am going to check if my stack dot peak, I don't want to remove it, I just want to check what's at the top. So equal to, if this is what I get at the top, that means I have a balanced string in this case, right? So if stack dot pop, remove that element. If my character is this, then if my stack has this, then remove it, otherwise else return false. Okay, similar checks we will do for all the other opening elements, and they will give you in an interview, they might also give you what are the elements that you will see. Else if it starts here, it ends here, right? So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to say else if this is the element, if this is the character that I'm dealing with in my string, and if I go ahead and check my stack, and when I do a peek, if this is the element that I get, then pop it, otherwise result false. Next one more check, else. The next time go ahead and do a check on what's the other one, this. If this is a character that I'm dealing with, and if my stack has this as my peak element, return false. If all of this fails, that means else. So you see, now it makes sense. Now see one by one what it does. Okay, so the initial stage is, let me just show it to you from a thing. The first time, so this is what we get. So the first time I'm dealing with this, it's a push operation because there is nothing in the stack. The second time also push operation, so your stack would look something like this if this is my string. The third time, I would come across this is a push operation, so your stack will have these three elements. The fourth time you're dealing with this character, this is your character, your check would come to not 1, not 2, not 3, it would come here, and this check would get satisfied, and then you would do a peek. When you do a peek on it, the most recent element is this one. You'll pop out that element, so that means you will take this out. What is remaining is you will be dealing with this. The next time you come across this element, so this condition gets satisfied. When this condition gets satisfied, you found this one, and then you are going to do a peek. When you do a peek, obviously what do you see? You see this character, so it's going to pop out this as well. So this condition gets satisfied. The next time, you are going to come back here, you will come across this character, and then you will make a check, so this condition will get satisfied, it will pop out. So once everything gets popped out from here, what do? You make a check and see if my stack is empty, return true. That means this was a well formed string, all the symbols were well formed. Otherwise, by default it would return false. It's very simple. So all you have to do is just draw it out and see how it behaves. So you go through this, understand that okay, it goes push, 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 and then it comes across this condition gets satisfied. Whenever this condition gets satisfied, yes, peek and pop. It's not a bad idea also to make sure that you make a check here, and then you add something like, hey, if my stack is empty, add this empty check. If my stack is not empty, add a check here. So this is how you do the balancing of the symbols. Let's go ahead and run this program. Bam. Okay, so true, the balancing of the symbol is true. Let's go ahead and try to remove one of this and see what happens. False. So that's not a well-formed string. Now this one. So that's how you do balancing of the symbols. This is a very important data structure to be able to understand and use. It might go a long way for you compared to other interviewees to know the functioning of stack as a character. The good explanation of it that I found was one in Karumanchi book, Narasimha Karumanchi, Data Structures and Algorithms. So most of it that you're seeing here on this stack, it's been influenced by that book, but nevertheless, this is a very important interview question that I think we all should know. How do I know that I have to be using stack? As I said in the beginning, anytime you have things like balancing of symbols, infix to postfix, infix to prefix, all those things, it's always a good idea to be able to use a data structure. A stack, it comes with experience. The more you practice, then the more you will understand that, okay, what data structure should I use in what question. But for now, if you've liked this video, if you understood the solution, please go ahead, comment, subscribe to my channel if you can, and do not forget to press the like button. Thank you again so much, and until then, next time we will come up with more solutions. I will talk to you soon, and have a nice weekend. Bye.